Hey everyone, it's Sean here, your guide to Warcraft, and today we're going to be getting the Sanguine Feather Quill of Lana'thel. So you need to be level 120 with 150 skill points in your Battle for Azeroth Inscription. You then want to head to your trainer. Some quests will appear where this will just lead you to get the recipe. They don't really warrant a guide, they're very straightforward. Just do the quests, might take a little bit of time. However, once you're done, the real grind begins. So you now have the recipe to craft the feather, but you're going to need a few items first. You're going to need a Gilded Plume, some Ancient Blood Pigment, 50 Coagulated Miasma, and then some ink and some expulsum. The ink and the expulsum are easy to get if you've already leveled up Inscription. You probably have some of these, if not, you know where to get some of these. But the other items are a bit more complicated. So the Ancient Blood Pigment actually drops from any of the world bosses in Kul Tiras or Zandalar. It only drops from the base world bosses, so the ones in the Warfronts do not count, so Darkshore, Arathi, they don't count. Only the base world bosses, so make sure you haven't killed it for the week, head over and it should just auto loot into your bags, although it can be distributed in different ways depending on the world boss. Next, let's go and get the Gilded Plumes. So this actually drops from the Golden Serpent. This is the first boss in the King's Rest dungeon. Now, as of recently, this dungeon is queuable on Heroic, so don't worry about finding a Mythic group. You can just queue for Heroic, go in there, grab the item and get out. And then you need the 50 Coagulated Miasma. This is going to be the tricky one. So the description says these drop from the Underrot dungeon. However, they can drop from the blood trolls outside the dungeon as well. So if you're a low geared alt like me, I found it a lot easier to just farm the trolls in the outside world. They only drop them one at a time and they are a very, very low drop rate. But it was really the method I was kind of stuck with. Alternatively, if you're a higher geared character or you have a friend that you can bring along, I'd recommend maybe farming the Underrot and doing the first bit of trash up to the first boss. That's really the only trash they ever drop from. However, they do drop it more frequently and they drop it at about 3 at a time, just making this whole grind a bit more bearable if you use that method. But ultimately, just go with whatever is easier for you. Once you have all of those items though, you can now craft the Sanguine Feather of Lana'thel. It has a couple of different uses, so we're going to start with the first one. So this one I'm actually going to compare to the Undead Racial of Cannibalize. So after you kill an enemy or enemies, you can actually use the feather to drain their blood and restore HP after combat, without a cooldown as well, so it's a nice little bit of functionality that you have with it, but nothing too crazy. The other thing you can do is craft these blood contracts. You would have obtained these when doing the initial quest, so you should already have these. Once you scribe it, it will summon one of these avatars to your side. So this is the avatar of the Blood Guard. This is supposed to act as your tank guardian for 4 hours. So what it will do is it will charge in and it will absolutely deal no threat whatsoever. So it was a bit useless to me. I found it wasn't a very good tank. Then we're going to switch over to the avatar of Bloodshed. This is like a hyena melee damage dealer, so I thought let's send him in on some blood trolls here. And I was actually pretty impressed. He actually takes out all 3 of these in one hit. He actually then applies like a bleed to your target, so I thought let's hit this last blood troll and see what happens. And then he runs in, applies a bleed, and the damage is actually pretty high. I was actually pretty impressed. For a 4-hour Guardian, that actually might come in handy, especially as a low-geared ult. My damage is quite low. But then I thought, let's try the avatar of Oblivion. So this is supposed to be another DPS avatar, but this is more of a ranged DPS. So, well, let's see how this one fares. I mean, it looks pretty cool. So let's run into another group of blood trolls here, and let's see how it fares. So it didn't fare as well as the other one. The damage felt very low in comparison, and I quickly was like, definitely not. Lastly, you have the avatar of Sacrifice. This is the Stag, and this one is designed to heal you. So, well, let's charge in, let's pull a rare, let's pull some more mobs. The Stag will mostly auto-attack, charge back and forth a few times, but he will sometimes spawn this Sanguine pool on the ground, and when you stand in it, it heals you. Pretty straightforward. So really you can choose which avatar you want depending on what you mostly need. However, I found them all pretty crap apart from the avatar of Bloodshed that actually did something. So I'm going to be going with the avatar of Bloodshed, but really is the feather worth the grind? I personally would probably not have done it if I didn't want to make a video for it. It just doesn't really seem really worth the payoff. I mean, I can live without a 4-hour pet or a blood drain ability, so for me, I could probably live without it. But If you're going to get it or not, do let me know in the comment section down below. Be sure to subscribe for some more Warcraft guides and videos. All my links are in the description. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.